What's cracking, like it's your boy Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So we got the Rams, Falcons, Saints, and Bengals all on a bye this week. So we got some starters there that we need to fill in for. Maybe you're looking thin at a position. So this is it. This is the waiver wire show where we look at some guys that could potentially come in and fill in for you or be better for you in the long run. Is what it is. We'll see what we can do. I'm going to tell you it is slim pickings out there, but before that, go ahead and become a bro. Subscribe. We're almost there. Almost at 1,000. We're doing give yourself just a pat on the back. We're doing a good job. And go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. But without further ado, let's go ahead. Let's go in. Let's talk about quarterback. And like I said, it's kind of slim pickings. I got Derek Carr here. He's available in 21% of leagues. Or he's available in 80% of leagues. Actually, he's only 21% owned. He's got a very juicy matchup this week against Detroit that made Daniel Jones look really, really good. They're 25th against opposing passers, so I don't think he's a bad pickup this week if you don't have like Matt Ryan or someone. And then we have Sam Darnold. I know Sam Darnold's looked pretty bad these last two games, but he's got a really good matchup against Miami. He's owned in like every league. So Miami, they're 29th against opposing passers. I know that they kind of bullied Mason Rudolph early in the game, but that wasn't the case near the end. So we got, I think those are some competent starters, some competent plug and play guys for week 9. And then let's go to the running back position because this, slim pickings. It is very slim. Why does my mustache feel off center? Should really comb this thing before I do these things. But I want to let's talk about Alexander Mattison. He is a superb handcuff to have. He is seeing some work. He just got 10 points this week in half PPR leagues. So he's not a bad option to have on your bench just in case Dalvin Cook does go down. He's owned in every league. I mean, it is what it is. Speaking of a guy owned in every league, let's talk about Trey Carson, man, because is he the starter? It looks like he's the starter. He got the bulk of the workload there in Detroit. So, I mean, yes, it's not fabulous. It's not great. But, again, you're scraping the... If you're low, if you're kind of weak at the running back position, you are scraping the bottom of the barrel here. Trey Carson, he's a starter. He might get starter touches. Honestly, my top priority if I was looking at running back would be Mark Walton. And again, he's the Dolphins, but they got a really good matchup this week against the Jets. They're 25th against opposing running backs. He's owned in almost 80% of leagues, so yeah, not a bad snag. But there's actually some really good candidates here to pick up for wide receiver. I think a lot of guys you could actually plug and play this week while you're without like Mike Thomas or Julio Jones. Let's start with Chris Conley because Chris Conley, man, he's been putting up banger after banger, and he's got a great matchup this week against Houston. They're last against opposing receivers. That secondary, that defense is just shot right now. That defense is just playing horrible, especially the secondary. No JJ Watt too, so I mean, honestly, this should be easy for Uncle Rico to be passing. And Chris Carson the last couple weeks has been very viable. And then Deontay Johnson, this guy reminds. I said this during the draft. He reminds me a lot of Antonio Brown. It reminds me a lot of AB. I thought he would be the 3rd round pick there for Steelers. He ended up going in the 3rd round there to the Steelers, and he's looked great. Honestly, his numbers last night should have been much bigger if it wasn't for that bogus pass interference call. But he has looked phenomenal, and it looks like Mason Rudolph's getting a little more leeway to throw the ball. Granted, all their running backs are starting to come down with injuries, but not a bad option here. And honestly, if Jalen Samuel is available in your league as far as running backs, he's not a bad snag too, depending on how long Connor might be out. It sounds like he's got a AC joint injury, something like that. So I'd monitor that status there. But yeah, Deontay Johnson, he's only owned in 11.6% of leagues, so he's a good get. Josh Reynolds, this really, really depends on how hurt Brandon Cook is. Like, how long is he going to be out? Because he stepped in and he outshined Robert Woods. He outshined Gerald Everett. The only guy he's not going to outpace for is Kupp there. So I think he's a good viable option if Cook is out. And then Cole Beasley. I've been singing the praises of Cole Beasley week in and week out. He's only owned in 25% of leagues. and he's got a juicy matchup this week against Washington, where their slot corner, he's a rookie. Jimmy Moreland, he's a rookie. He could easily go at him, so I think that's a really good matchup this week. I think he's got a high flex floor. And then another Dolphin, Devontae Parker. I kind of, you kind of play this game where it's like, okay, dude, is it Parker? Is it Preston Williams? But Parker has the touchdown upside. Granted, he didn't catch either of the touchdowns in that game against Pittsburgh, but he is seeing the targets. He had like 10 targets last night. So again, this is kind of a Hail Mary if you're really thin at the wide receiver spot. If you're losing some guys to the bye this week, he might be worth a shot. And let's go ahead, let's talk about the tight end position, which is actually a lot better than I expected, because Dallas Goedert is still available. And I didn't think he was going to produce that well last week against Buffalo. I thought it was really going to be Zach Ertz, but it looks like, honestly, Goddard is just playing. Wow, they're running a lot of 2 tight end sets there, and he does look like the red zone threat. He's owned in only 32% of leagues, so I think he's a good go and get. And then Darren Fells, I hate this. He's so touchdown dependent, but he's got a good matchup this week against Jacksonville. They've allowed 4 touchdowns to the tight end already this year. That's already among the worst in the NFL. So it's a good matchup if you're missing Hopper this week. So yeah, that's not a bad get. And then Chris Herndon, man, let me tell you, if he is healthy this week, this is a good get, because he faces Miami, who they're so against opposing tight ends. They're kind of middle of the pack, but the amount that Sam Darnold has gone to his tight end in the 4 games he's played has been phenomenal. Looking at Griffin's stats, 13 targets, 11 receptions, 105 yards, 3 touchdowns through 4 games. Might not seem all that great, but he kind of could chuck one of those games because it was against New England, a phenomenal defense, where Griffin only saw 1 target, 1 catch, and it was like 10 yards. So take that out, then those numbers are really good, and it's a juicy matchup against Miami, who, again, they're so against it, but I don't think they're going to be able to keep up with New York. I don't think the Dolphins are much worse than the Jets right now at this point. And then Juno Smith, the guy he put out, I said this in my stardom sit-ems. If Delaney Walker is out, Juno Smith is a great option, and he goes out and he's just a great option. He played extremely well. And if Delaney Walker's still hurt, he is a good get. He is a good play for the tight end position. So if you're struggling at tight end, it's a tough position to project, I know. So Juno Smith, not a bad option as long as Delaney Walker's out. Let me say that one more time. As long as Delaney is out. But that's it for the video. Go ahead, do the YouTube things. Much appreciated. Much obliged. I got a mock draft coming out next Tuesday. It's only the first round. So, I mean, come on. It's still a mock draft, man. We love mock drafts here. But until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.